There's a new worry on our southern border tonight, with border agents overwhelmed by this
laws
huge
on the books that would actually say that we should have an organized process and we shouldn't have a wide open
border. When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best. They're not sending you. They're not sending you. They're sending people that have lots of problems.
But the issue is that when it really comes down to it, everything you hear and everything you see isn't always how it actually is.
The social justice class is based on principles that are non-traditional in most classrooms. The belief being that a student can learn from different elements other than textbooks.
So a main component of the class is to be able to take the kids to the border, which is really complex. It talks on the border encompasses not only immigration, the drug trade, the life of the farmers.
We're right on the border, and most students grow up here but don't realize the impact of living between these two vastly different countries.
And it's out of the box actually to take students to an uncomfortable environment, which is the border, which is really complex. Santiago Tijuana becomes a microcosm of all the problems that are embedded on the 2,000-mile border that we have.
A real effective form of learning about a topic is to go out in the community. We seem to be caught in the confines of a classroom, even in front of a computer. And to go out there and to gauge how people feel about a topic is really important in getting that foundation of what the community feels.
I can give you a book about how the burrito looks like, but it's different when you actually taste it and have it to unwrap it and be able to enjoy all the substance that is in it. That's the same way I view the border.
So we have students go out into the community and interview friends and family, and also people randomly around Greater San Diego. And it provides a really good springboard for studying the topic.
So we're out here today with a couple Francis Parker students, getting their knowledge on immigration, seeing what they got going on. So we're here with Ryan Zupkis. Ryan, how you doing?
Doing well, doing well.
So we got a couple questions for you. One, what does a border mean to you?
Well, it's obviously the division of two countries.
I would say that the border should be, I think it should be limited, restricted a little bit, yeah, to people. Like we should do background checks and make sure people are doing good things before they come into the country.
I don't know, it's important.
Why do you think it's important?
Because like we got our country, they got theirs.
Well, I think it's a very controversial subject because a lot of people come over the border and they really have good intentions. They don't want to do something illegal, but that's like their only hope of a better life is coming across the border.
So you know about Donald Trump's plan, right? About building a big wall. Yeah. So we can just start out with there. What do you think about that?
Well, personally, I think it's a really ridiculous plan. I don't think you can take a problem like immigration or like illegal immigrants and solve it by just building a wall.
I would make the wall high, keep the people out, keep us in, keep border control at high, you know.
So you want to keep all immigration out of our country?
Not all, but yeah, sure.
My name is Luis Jesus Ortiz. I'm 20 years old. I got deported 3 days ago. I crossed the border when I was 5 years old. I'm only 20. I've been there for 15 years of my life. I can even speak French better than I can speak Spanish. I went to high school, I took that shit for 4 years. You have no idea. I've seen walking around here, I've seen people get mugged. I've been mugged. I've been stopped by the cops. They've been taking my money. Like, to be honest, I wish I could go home. I know I'm a grown-ass man. I'm 20 years old, but I'd give anything to be with my family. When I talk to my mom on the phone, like, I cried. Like, I'll even tear up right now. Like, it is bad. Like, just be able to be taken from your family, your home, your place. Like, I'm basically an American. Immigration out there, like, they don't play it. They'll take you, like, they'll snatch you. Well, I can be resentful as fuck, but as long as they give me a chance to go back, I don't care what they do to me. I don't belong out here.
You know, a lot of times we hear about deportation and immigrants and stuff, but we don't see what happens, you know, once they're gone. You know, it's kind of out of our sight, and getting to see, you know, how that affects people and how it doesn't matter where you're from, you just kind of get dumped off wherever, and you have to, like, figure out what you're gonna do. Like, a lot of these people, their lives just gets turned upside down.
Some of them are 40-year-old men, some of them are 18-year-olds just like us, and all the stories are so different, but they've all come so far from where they were a couple weeks ago, a couple months ago. I was talking with someone at dinner, and he was telling me all about his son, who's our age, and how his son is still in Detroit and in Michigan because he was born there. And he's like, well, I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna get back there. I'm gonna get back to my son.
So one of the first trips that we went on was the trip to Hakamba, which is a small little sleepy town right on the border, and the fence just runs right along the town. And it's a pretty popular place for migrants to cross, especially up near the mountains there.
Bueno, nos encontramos en Jacumba, California, en la mitad del desierto. Literalmente, la frontera se encuentra dividida en el desierto de California y es un área muy común donde los inmigrantes suelen saltar este muro que ustedes ven de contención. Aquí podemos ver unas zapatillas hechas, la hacen con el fin de borrar sus huellas y tratar de disuadir a la patrulla fronteriza. Sin embargo, es un área muy peligrosa ya que muchos inmigrantes mueren del intenso calor. Recientemente, desde el 2012, más de 2.000 inmigrantes en esta área han sido tratados por el calor, deshidratación.
You just look down at your feet, and there were some full water bottles, and there was some slashed water bottles too. And we went out there and we placed a couple water jugs out there, but honestly, who knows if anyone actually got to use those water jugs, or if people just came by and they cut them too. Anyone who would cut the water bottle and make it so that the people who are thirsty coming across the border don't get any water, it's just like they're pretty much sentencing those migrants to die. Because without water and that high heat out there, it's a death sentence. Slashing the water bottles isn't stopping the rapists and the criminals and the drug traffickers from coming over, because those people know what the border trip entails, and they'll pack accordingly, and they'll bring enough water. The people that the slashing of the water bottles actually hurts are innocent people. They're families, they're young children, they're people who all they want is a better life, and that's their only crime.
Yo crucé en el 1979 con mi hijo de 1 año cargando. Yo crucé al lado del aeropuerto, caminando como 1 milla. No había nada, solamente un alambre de 2. Y muy difícil para mí, mucho miedo por mi hijo, pero aquí estoy.
And people are dying trying to cross the border because they want to be here that badly, right? And I was wondering, well, what happens to the people that die? and we did some research, and we found that there's a cemetery in Holtville where it's specifically dedicated to migrants who crossed the border, who are never identified, and it's just an array of unmarked graves.
The bodies were unidentified, and so if it was a girl, the grave was marked Jane Doe, and if it was a guy, the grave was marked John Doe. And it was pretty disturbing to see because these people, their families, and people they were close with have no idea where they are, if they could be dead and buried like they were, or they don't know if they could be out living some life. And families could even be searching for these people, and of course they'll never find them.
This right here, some irrigator was irrigating the field over there. You know, making this ditch with con su pala. And paz, he hit something. And it was a skull.
And I was pretty surprised by how underwhelming it was. That's how I would describe it. And these people have been robbed of their dignity.
A lot of the lives that are lost of immigrants coming to the United States end up being unidentified. And we don't know the possibilities, the skills that they could have brought to the United States and how they could have prospered.
You really get to see how, in the end, we're all going to be the same. You know, it just kind of brings into perspective how no matter how you live your life or whatever it is, we're all going to end up in the same spot.
People don't really understand the emotional impact that looking at the border has unless you actually go there yourself. Like, looking at it in a movie is one thing, but actually being there in person is another.
I'd grown up looking at numbers. I was looking at the numbers of the people coming over without documents. I was looking at the number of drugs coming over, looking at the number of guns, number of crimes, rapes, assaults. And I wasn't looking at the people anymore. I was just looking at the numbers. And sadly, the numbers are what's being told and not the people, not the lives, not the stories.
And there was a part where we went to where the people can come up to the gate, but they only have room to put a finger in between, and so the most contact that two people in the same family could have is touching each other's finger. And that was really hard to look at, and we didn't even see the people there, and that was hard for me to see because I couldn't imagine if my mom or my dad was on the other side, and that was the most contact I could possibly have with them.
Viven del otro lado de México, no específicamente para los que trabajan aquí, o sea, para todos los que cruzan la frontera. Cambian porque empiezan a pensar que vienen a ser males, y no es así, o sea, yo pienso que las personas que cruzan la frontera, principalmente por la línea, traen sus documentos y son mínimos, yo pienso muy mínimos, los que traen alguna otra cosa mal, como drogas o cosas así, y están como bastante revisados, hay bastantes perros, o sea, es muy difícil que gente trate de hacer algo mal.
It's rough on people and communities, but the biggest thing is that it's necessary and that we need a border or a border patrol to help keep our borders in place. So it's kind of living with kind of this evil.
It's the law, you know, you have to uphold the law. And on the other hand, you know, these are people, and some of them it's not their fault. So you got to figure out what to do, and where's the median in between that.
All of us here are immigrants, and I think that coming into this country and then closing the door behind you seems very hypocritical.
No one's going to just decide we're going to roll over and play dead. People are going to keep trying to come over. People are going to keep trying to make better lives for themselves. And what we have to decide, I think, is whether or not what we're actually doing is right.